It's Cardboard Time, episode number 64, and I'm your host, Arwen Kathke, just recovering from what was a wonderful Origins, and I'm going to break it all down for you today. Unfortunately, Jamie could not join me. She just got done with her Monday stream, and boy, believe me, we are all so incredibly tired. Normally, we'd record in the car on the way home, but there's just so much going on, and I needed a little bit of time to process. There were some things that went on that we'll get into that just needed some time to sit, reflect, and kind of think about. So here to bring you all of that coverage, bring you the rundown, kind of give my report out about how the con was and the goings on. I just miss everybody already. I mean, it's a big thing. That like post-con come down, especially the day after. It hits. It's bad. But we're here, and I'm here with you. So let's talk about that shelf of shame, because it went up by 10, as you do at a convention, and you're talking with people, and you see things that you like, and talk with publishers, have meetings, things make their way into your bag in your hotel room, and then your car, and then your shelves, and then you wonder where the heck to put things. So 19 games came home with me. Quite a few of those were review copies, though, and let's go down the list. Diced Veggies was from KTBG, a little pre-release. I will be doing some coverage of it before Gen Con. I have already played it. I'm not going to spoil my thoughts, but I have played it and got that played Saturday night, I believe, and we'll get into that. But the second one was Wing It. This one was by Molly Zeff, Flying Leap Studios. Miller Zoo, Tribes of the Wind from Hachette. Very excited to check both of those out. They've been producing some really good things lately, and really excited, especially about Tribes of the Wind. That Vincent Dutrait art is just so beautiful. Murder We Wrote is a fun little party game by our friends over at Kess Studios. Mango Cabana by Catastrophe Games. This is one that I will be talking about and probably doing a little bit of a full review later, but I do want to talk a little bit about that during our coverage, because they did get to play that. And then Star Realms Frontiers and Kapow. This was by Wise Wizard. This one was interesting. Star Realms is actually a game that I used to own, and I got rid of. And I didn't see the huge appeal of it. But I took a peek at Frontiers, and it really kind of changed things up quite a bit, that I was willing to go and take another look. And sometimes those things happen where you just wind up going and, you just take a fresh look at something, and maybe it hits you a little bit differently, especially with an expansion or a different form of it. Kapow is a dice builder game, which those of you who know me and know my preferences for games, I do have a very big soft spot for dice builders. And then finally, Bag of Spiders, which has the cutest theme song we'll be talking about a little bit later, but that also made its way home with me. A few purchases. The first one was Not So Neighborly. This one, Court Sakmar came by with the sisters from Fam Bam Games, and those two are such sweethearts. If you haven't heard of Fam Bam Games or Not So Neighborly, go check out their website. They are wonderful people that we met back at Gen Con last year, and been kind of talking on and off ever since, seeing each other at conventions, that kind of thing. So I finally picked that up. It looked cute, and Court basically described it as a really cute game with arson. So how do you say no to that? And then Rauha from I have no idea how to pronounce it. Rauha from Hachette also made its way into my trunk. And Octopus Garden. This one was by Roberta Taylor. This came out before the just hit success of Creature Comforts, and I really wanted to go back and play this one. I've heard really good things about it. I've heard it's a little bit underrated, and really excited to look at it. I mean, I haven't played a single game from her that's been bad, so really looking forward to seeing this one. Fiction and Nine Lives from All Play also did pick those up, and Beer and Bread. I will be talking a little bit about it. I don't want to spoil my full thoughts, but do want to talk about it a little bit later in the show. And then finally, Gap. This was a game that Jillian brought to kind of our gatherings, in that she had purchased it, and I went back to the Arcane Wonders booth and purchased it. So that'll tell you pretty much what I thought of it. And then I actually won a copy of Dubious, also by Arcane Wonders. This one does have a little bit of a story to it, and I will touch on that a little bit later in the podcast. And two games I picked up in the flea market. The first is Shamans, and if you remember back, I want to say it was the Origins episode last year. It could have been the PAX episode, but I think it was the Origins episode. We had a incredible night, and Shamans was part of that, and really underrated game. I did pick that up for $10 at the flea market. And then Trap Words I picked up for $5. This was a CGE game that I had heard a lot about, just never had really picked it up. Had other priorities to pick up, and finally for $5, why not take a chance on it? And again, one of the big things that I always stress is check out the flea markets at the conventions that you're going to, because you will often, if they're having one, see some really good deals. And usually, in general, people will in this hobby take care of their stuff. So those were kind of my acquisitions. Getting into the games played, 3 that were new to me, quite a few that were older games that I had played or taught or whatever. And these are full games, not demos. I did sit down and demo a few things, but I also didn't want to include that. So Dice Veggies, again, like I talked about, Mango Cabana, and Inside Job. Definitely Dice Veggies and Inside Job will be getting those full reviews. And I think I'm going to do the same for Mango Cabana as well. But I do want to talk a little bit about Mango Cabana, when we get to that. And then 9 sold at the math trade that left my collection. The rundown of those is Twilight Imperium 3. I have the 4th one, and really, I never played the 3rd one. Don't see the need to have it. I've asked multiple people, do I need to have this? Do I need to play this? And the answer is, almost always unanimously been, don't worry about it. Just get rid of it. Give it a new home and give it to somebody who will appreciate it. Crossmaster Arena and Crossmaster Quest. Arena I did play on BGA. Wasn't really a huge fan of it. I'm not huge into arena combat for the most part. There's a couple of exceptions, but this one just really didn't hit that much for me. And then Crossmaster Quest just wasn't hitting the table. I didn't see a real big opportunity for that to hit the table anytime soon, so I figured it should get into some better hands than mine. The DC Funkoverse game, I've been trying to get rid of the last of my Funkoverse, and that was that. The Capitals was one that I just didn't see myself playing. It didn't really have a huge amount of intrigue for me. and just kind of felt that it was sitting on the shelf. Another one of those cases. The Spill, this was one that I had reviewed a little while ago. I thought it was good, and there's definitely good games I've gotten rid of out of my collection. The Spill was definitely one of them. With the super satisfying dice tower. I did pay full price for this. I did pick up the playmat, the whole pre-order thing. And it just, I felt that there were too many similarities to Pandemic, for me anyways. And when it comes to, what I would prefer to play, I would prefer to play a game of Pandemic. So that one left. Tang Garden, I thought was okay. It was a very, very gorgeous game, but it was a huge box, and I didn't see myself really getting it out all that much repeatedly, so I felt that it should be rehomed. Warhammer Quest, again, the card game version, that is, and Sanctum, both games that I thought were very good, but weren't really going to hit the table anytime soon. And, again, there's a common theme. You want to get those games into new homes where they're going to be appreciated. So then finally, I got home, and actually before I got home, I got a text message from my girlfriend, Allie, who said there are a lot of bones at this house. And my Too Many Bones crowdfunding campaign for Unbreakable fulfilled, and this huge heavy box shipped, and that has Unbreakable in it, Undertow, more characters, premium health, capsules, 40 waves, 40 caves, Rage of Tyranny, like just a whole bunch of content for that game to fill up my giant treasure trove of Too Many Bones content. So I'm a very happy girl right now. I spent most of tonight just unpacking and getting those boxes emptied out into the treasure trove, and looking forward to playing with all that content. I know that I have a lot of Too Many Bones ahead of me. I do have some plans I'm not necessarily going to talk about right now, but I will say that will come in handy for that. So just a little teaser of what's in store for the channel pretty soon. So that's a wrap up. That's a Shelf of Shame wrap up. Like almost 15 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten into the breakdown of what happened at Origins. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Wednesday. And Wednesday, I drove down to Origins. I left fairly early because I had a hair appointment, as I always do. And I also gave Molly Zeff with Flying Leap Games a ride on the way. We had a fantastic chat on the way down about the work that she's doing with the Horizons Fellowship. And if you don't know what that is, and you're a underrepresented minority, definitely check that out for kind of opening up some opportunities in gaming. It's definitely something that they're doing great work there. So once we got to Origins, everybody was situated and dropped off. I got over to my hair appointment. Doing my hair is something that I always do, just kind of as a self-care thing. So I get the weekend started off on the right foot, and I get my hair done. I, look nice. This time I did my nails. I went over after the event that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, and got my nails done, and just kind of started things off the right way. It was a fun time, and after that, I checked into the hotel. We were on site at the Hilton this year. The Hilton was pretty good. I will say the one thing that might be a little bit of a complaint about the Hilton is, kind of their attitudes towards gamers. especially in some of the areas, you know, later at night. They don't like people necessarily playing later at night. And that was kind of the feeling that I got at the old hotel. And that did transfer over to the new hotel somewhat. I don't think it was as bad as it originally was, but yeah, just a little bit of an uneasy feeling about that. But that said, that new building being attached directly to the convention center and kind of being in the middle of everything is a super convenient location. You could not ask for a better hotel to stay at, with the new tower than that one, because it's just so incredibly convenient and so central to everything. You go right, and you have the Hyatt area with the food court that's down there, the big bar, those meeting rooms if you're into the TTRPG space. And then off to the left is all of the rest of the content, your giant vendors hall, that kind of thing. So location-wise, it was great. From a recovery standpoint, it was also great. I am still, kind of recovering from surgery 3 months later. This is a long recovery process, although I'm through most of it. I'm definitely at the point that I'm up, I'm moving around, I'm able to carry things over 10 pounds. I'm able to do those, 10,000 step a day, kind of days, which I had multiple of this year. And yeah, just really convenient to kind of, relax, set things down, that kind of thing. So really good. Really happy that I stayed there just from a convenience standpoint and everything. I may look to go back to the Hampton next year because I should be in much better shape by then. So yeah, that's kind of the hotel breakdown. And after I got checked in, I met up with Chris from Catastrophe Games and Board Again for the Meat and Cheese Party, with meat spelled MEET. We had this with some designers, publishers, media, just a very informal event that we kind of set up together. We split a cheese tray, which had some amazing cheese that Chris had picked up from the Dayton area, I believe. And Chris, if you're listening to this and you want to comment what the cheese was, on the Twitter post for this, please do, because the place that did this did a phenomenal spread. Like all the cheeses that they had were outstanding. Normally, I'm not a fan of dill cheese, and the dill Havarti that they had was just like this little hint of dill that just worked. It was so good. The white cheddar mountains, they called them, were really, really tasty. Really enjoyed those. There was like a sriracha cheddar as well. Just so much good stuff on that platter. And really well done, really good cheese platter, like one of the better ones I've had. So thanks to Chris for picking that up. While we were there, I played a game by Sashi and Sashi called Before the Guests Arrive. This was one where you're just kind of tidying up everything in your house before the guests arrive. The guests basically arrive when you pull a card that's at the bottom, like 5 cards of the stack, and you're basically trying to score points by putting things away, and then you take cards by either the row or the column. You take everything that's there, and then you can tidy up, which is using one of your cards that allows you to tidy stuff, and then you put where your items are. And basically, the items have different points on them, and you flip them over for their point value. The stuff that you have left over in your hand is worth negative points because you're kind of caught with it, like in your hand. type deal. So that's something that you definitely don't want. It was a fun little game. I do in general like the Sashi and Sashi games. I've talked about Coffee Roaster multiple times on this. I still wish I had that Coffee Roaster with the Sashi and Sashi art on it, but maybe someday I'll grab that. Cute game, lost horribly, but it was fun. Nice little icebreaker, something that you can go and chat as you're playing it. And then I got a review copy of Mango Cabana. This was a very, very interesting game that we wound up playing later. And Chris wasn't sure. He's like, I don't know. It's super light. I don't know if you're going to want it, but I'll give it to you anyways and see what you think. And this one was surprisingly good. I do want to do a full review on it. I think the more that I think about it, the more that I do want to play it a little bit more and do a full review, because I think it deserves it. It is a lighter game, and he's not wrong. This is a game where you're basically trying to fill up a nightclub with different fruits. And the fruits kind of have this 90s CGI vibe, like the old bad commercials that had like the bad CGI characters on them, but this isn't quite that. Like, the characters do look better. And I will say, like, it just worked. I don't know why the artwork just worked. It's like sultry fruit that you're trying to place into your nightclub. You can place 2 per day. I think there's like Thursday through Sunday, something like that. And you can only play 2 of the characters, one in the early evening, one in the late evening. And each one has different bonus point conditions on it, and then points based on where you put it. So you basically are trying to maximize your points. So, I mean, it was simple, but it had enough strategy that we were very intrigued, and really, really happy to play it. I think everybody there thought the exact same thing, that it was surprisingly more strategy than we thought that there was going to be, based on what was out there, and a little bit of hate drafting, actually, as well. So, yeah, don't want to get too deep into it, but really fun game. If you want to take a look at it, if you like those lighter card games, this is going to be one that you're probably going to want to check out. And that's all I'm going to say about it for now until the full review of it. So I did, after that, like I said, go get my nails done, walked over after that, and we got ramen. And we met up with Jillian, me and Pomelo, on Twitter. Never had met her in person. Very glad to have met her. Really, really sweet. And, got to hang out with Maddie as well, our good friend Maddie. And then Jamie, Rachel, and Olivia, who I did room with this year, and, couldn't ask for better roommates. I think we've worked our kind of timing issues out. And again, normally this would be with Jamie, but Jamie and Rachel decided, with timing and everything, that they want to drive down themselves and then drive back. So we don't have that kind of just stream of consciousness, wrap up like we did last year. But anyways, that was pretty much the night. That was pretty much our Wednesday. And Thursday, I had a lot of meetings. So many meetings. Not going to go into them all. But in addition to those meetings, I did have a fantastic interview with Dave Beck of Paverson Games. He is the designer of Distilled. Fortunately, he bared with me while I had technical difficulties. First, the device I had didn't want to record, and then after that, I hit record, and then it stopped midway through, and then finally we did get the interview in. Once I kind of fixed everything up. So I don't know if it's because I haven't used it in a while. Maybe I need to use my Zoom recorder a little bit more, so that it doesn't do stuff like that. But again, Dave, if you're listening to this, thank you for bearing with me while I have my technical difficulties. But really fun chat. We had that on the convention floor, and it was nice. There was a little area that was set up for us as media. Unfortunately, we didn't find anything out from a media perspective until Friday before. So I was very glad that the interviews I did have, I was able to schedule those rooms and those spaces for. Again, very grateful that those were there. But not. I probably would have scheduled a few more interviews if I had known that space was going to be available to us. And I'm hoping that it's available to us next year. I also finally got to meet Helena from KTBG, and it's always fun chatting with the crew over there. They have such a nice crew over there between Helena, Sean. Finally got to chat with, or not finally, I got to chat with Roberta Taylor again, which was a huge surprise. I had no idea Roberta was going to be there, and what a pleasant surprise it was to see her over there. Absolutely love chatting with her. She is the sweetest, and really, just enjoying what she's putting out into the world. She's got a couple more things that are potentially on the way that I can't necessarily talk about, and that she couldn't necessarily talk about. But I think a little bit later on this year we might talk to her again. So that is super exciting, and Roberta, really hope we can reconnect later this year. Once things kind of settle down from Gen Con. I will not be going this year, but I know just about everybody from the crew there will be. Couple new games from them that they have coming up again, Dice Veggies, which I will be talking about a little bit later on. And then Wasabi is coming up as well, and looks really good. Looks like that's going to be another hit for them. So yeah, good times with them. I had a lovely sit down with Carla Kopp, the head of Weird Giraffe, and it was going so well that half an hour into our chat, she actually got to the point where she asked, do you want to talk about games at some point? But having that chat with her and having, kind of her perspective as a developer, as a designer, as somebody in that creative space within board games, just kind of gave me a little bit of an insight as to why she does the things that she does and why her games have some of the fun things that they have in them. And I will definitely say that it was so incredibly nice and insightful talking with her, and just looking forward to chatting with her. It's always fun hanging out with her, and wish that I would be able to play a little bit more with her, and sit down and play some games. But things are busy at a convention, and you have things to do, and we've all got schedules that kind of every once in a while hit that point that they overlap, and that's when the magic happens and you can actually get something in. Their catalog coming up is also very exciting. Weird Giraffe just hits with me in a special way. It's just one of those things that their games drive with me, and I just really enjoy them. So excited to see what they have coming up. And then while we were talking, Jeremy Davis who designed Bag of Spiders along with Carla, came up, and you want to talk about the catchiest theme song of all time. We were singing this theme song the entire weekend, and as soon as it got out of our heads, like somebody else would go and bring it up. And yeah, if you want to go and hear what I'm talking about, you can go look up Bag of Spiders Kickstarter and click on the video, and you too can have that theme song in your head infinitely. So we also played a couple of games that night. We played Gap. That was one that was by Arcane Wonders. I talked about it a little bit on the top of the show. Really fascinating little card game that I'm getting to enjoy more and more of those small box card games. This one was basically about trying to get a suit or multiple suits that were equal to a very high amount of cards, and then one suit that you had one or a very few amount of cards. It's hard to describe. If I do wind up doing a full review of it, I will go into a little bit more depth and a little bit more preparation on how exactly it works. But we played that a couple of times during the weekend, and Jillian brought that really super game. Went over. They were unfortunately out at the time, but Arcane Wonders was nice enough to do a deal where they would ship the game directly to you for free if you bought it at the convention price. And I thought, for $15 for a card game, that wasn't bad. I should have it within a couple of weeks. So, and the great thing is it's not going to hit the shelf of shame because I've already played it. So that was Gap, and we did play Inside Job. This is another one that I do want to have a full review of, but let me tell you, I knew that I wanted this game, and I told Court Sakmar from Cosmos, look, I want this game. The way that she described it was perfect. The crew with social deduction, hidden roles, and it's just a magic combination. It just hits so well. It does have that like stand-up moment where you find out who the traitor is, and you have that vote at the end. Really good trick-taking mechanics. Those kind of quests that you would expect from the crew where they're cooperative, but that little twist just takes it up to that next level. And I would definitely start with a crew if you are teaching somebody how to trick take, just because you can kind of step them through the process. You could even go back to Fork, like I talked about, teach people trick taking through Fork, and then step them up through more of the strategy, like with the crew, and then bring them into a game like Inside Job. And then finally, Spots was a game that I played quite a bit of on BGA. I was actually in a tournament through the Tabletop Express, and I actually got to play physically. I did win this one, and very happy to do that. I had a couple of very nice dice rolls, a couple of good decisions early on. Were able to win me the game. So that was awesome. And then finally, we had beers with Tim Vernig, Matt Hawker, Dylan, Jamie and Rachel at a bar called Hoofhearted, HOOFHEARTED. If you listen to last year's podcast, it wasn't Patrick Swayze night again, which I was sad, but we did get some wings. The wings were pretty good. It was 69-cent wing night, so you kind of have to get the wings at that point. Pretty good, not bad. I've had better, but then again, I'm from Buffalo, so I have pretty high standards. It was a rainy and dreary day. I would at some point like to get into that pool. It does look like super refreshing and a nice place to have a beer as well. But it's always great to have beers with Tim. Tim did bring a shirt from Giant Jones Brewing that's out by him as well. So Tim's a sweetheart, and always love talking with him. We have some great conversations. This one got a little deep. I will admit, there were some topics that came up that were a little bit deep, and we're always looking to educate, and Tim was definitely listening. So we tried to kind of bring things back a little bit. It was supposed to be a really positive weekend, but there are some negative things that are going on, especially in our state right now. So, Tim, thank you for listening, and being an ally to us, and trying to understand what we're going through. So that was that. That was Thursday. So let's get into Friday, where I'm in even more meetings. I did get to sit down to Elder Scrolls with Chip Theory, so that was super exciting. That was about 2.5 hours on the show floor. This is a huge amount of content. This is a game that if you've played Too Many Bones, you're going to see a lot of the mechanics in there. A lot of the things are already going to be familiar to you. Maybe in a more dungeon crawly sense. You're not going to have that square grid. You will have a little bit more of that dungeon crawl feel, but not terrible by any means. But again, just the amount of content with the different guilds that are coming up and the different towns and the different side quest cards and everything, just so many combinations. You would never play the same game twice, or if you did, it would be probably fairly different based on those different side quest cards that did come up. There was one that had not come up apparently yet, and we got to test, and it was very fun. So no spoilers, but yeah, it was good. We had some fun with it. Very difficult. I'm still kind of processing this. I've been processing it for the past couple of days. Normally I am very much into Chip Theory's products, as you know. But at the same time, you have to have the time and money to invest into this one. And if you do invest, it's going to be an amazing value. But to really get your money's worth out of it, you're going to have a significant amount of time to get into this. This isn't going to be one that you just plop out on the table and go. This is going to be one that you either leave, kind of set up and you do some stuff, or, you're going to be sitting down for 3 hours pretty much. But again, just so much content. And I do think it'll be worth it if you have the time to invest. So I also got to chat with Lauren Yu and Tony from Reversal. They do have some amazing things coming up with them that I cannot discuss. But in other news, they do have an upcoming expansion to Tome, which I'm very excited for. We will be talking to Lauren in the near future. She was on one of the early episodes. I'm really excited to sit down with her and chat some more games, and find out what's been going on with her ever since that episode came out. And then, more Tome is obviously very good. I'm a big fan of that game. Another trick taker that I really, really enjoy. And looking forward to seeing that. Will be coming up on Kickstarter soon. I believe that's a July Kickstarter. So make sure you look out for that. If you are a Tome fan, it will be coming up. Also, I ran into James and Reed at the Chin Robot booth. I was so excited to meet them in person. I've had James on before, and James has had me on his podcast too. So and Reed also, the first time that I'm meeting him. Very excited to meet them in person. Just have that chat with them, sit down, have a conversation between meetings. That was awesome. It was kind of a surprise. Wasn't expecting either of them, and got both of them. So it was so cool to have them both in one place. So hi to those guys. And then we had, we kind of had a few plans that we were looking at. Chris Goodlett had his big dinner that night that we were originally going to attend, and then we were also invited to another party, but we found out that it was Olivia's birthday, so we kind of dropped everything and did that because that was super important. So we went down to the hotel bar, we played a few games, including more Gap, and also Night of the Ninja. This was one by Brotherwise that I kind of slept on, just because I was a little bit burnt out on social deduction at the time. My experiences with it had been like the Resistance and Secret Hitler and stuff like that. And I'm like, whatever. This was fascinating. This was really, really interesting. You had two different teams. You had each, how to best describe this, each person on that team had a ranking, and the team that won was the team that had the highest ranked person still left in the game. And you had your standard, I can look at your card, then you had your player elimination, that kind of thing, but the rounds were super quick, and at least they were supposed to be. They weren't necessarily super quick for us because we were sitting and socializing and chatting. But this is one of those games where you're on one team, you play around, the winners get points, and then you reset, you do another round and another round until somebody gets to 10 points. So it's super fun. This might be one that I actually pick up as well. Just wasn't at the convention, so it wasn't even, something that I could pick up, but will be something that I think about picking up. So finally, to round out the night, and this was probably my highlight of everything that went down, a game of Blood on the Clock Tower. And this was magical. Roberto Lopez had kind of contacted me and said, hey, I've got Clock Tower. We haven't played any games with each other since we met, which was very true. We had played some BGA games. Yeah, Roberto had gone and said, I'd really like to sit down and play something. I do have Blood on the Clock Tower with me. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm interested. So we chatted back and forth, and there was some interest. And when we said that was happening, there was even more interest in our group. So let me set the stage for you. Jamie, Olivia, Maddie, and Court Sakmar, we were all just hanging out, and we were like, hey, let's go do this. Let's go play Blood on the Clock Tower with Roberto. And we figured, he's got people. Yeah, he had people. So Grant Lyon, Chris Goodlett, Nelson from Nelson All Over, Roberto Lopez, Ascadelia Hatris, also our friend Ellie, who we played Twilight Imperium with, one of Jamie's good friends and a good friend of mine, also was there and had a fantastic performance there as well. Just a wild time. So you had all of these people, And a lot of us are involved either in the industry or in the content creation space. And then to top it off, the game was run by Carly Reinhardt of Gnarly Carly Games, who, let me tell you, did a outstanding job at running this game. She is a natural at it. I understand that she runs multiple games. So she's had practice, but the flow of everything, how everything was explained, the ability to go to her and say, hey, what about this? What about that? Really good. Really, really good. And this game got wild. It was something that we were all talking about the rest of the weekend. Probably will be talking about for quite a while. And to talk about my role, if you're not familiar with Blood on the Clock Tower, it is a social deduction game. It is a large. Normally, I think you have to have at least 5 or 6 players, and to really do it right, you need more. I guess the ideal size for a group is about 12 people, and that's about what we had. So we were in that ideal position, and this was just like lightning striking. And so I was on the evil team. My role was the Scarlet Woman. And my ability as a Scarlet Woman, there's a main demon who is trying to kill the villagers at night. The villagers are trying to assess who the demon is and kill them during the day. So basically discussion, what's going on. We're going to vote for somebody to, put up for execution, and, kind of very werewolf-esque, if you've ever played that, but with very, very interesting roles that kind of break the game a little bit. So my role as Scarlet Woman was, if the imp or the main demon character got killed, that power was transferred to me. So Nelson was the main demon, and went through, and the 3 roles, and as a demon, you basically get the 3 roles that aren't taken, so you automatically have an idea. You don't have to guess. You don't have to figure out like what hasn't been taken. You already know what hasn't been taken, so you can slide into a role very easily and say, come up with a story that, yes, I am this role. And there is a role that is protected from the demon at night called the Soldier, and that's exactly the one that I took. Because I basically wanted to have the out that I cannot be killed by the demon at night. It is something that you don't have a power that you have to try to fake all that much. So it was a little bit easier for me as a newer player to kind of play with that. And this was really something. Ellie was the monk, and Ellie went and protected Jamie one round. Nelson tried to kill Jamie at night, and basically it registered as there was nobody killed. The demon can also abstain from killing somebody if they want to make it look like somebody had been protected, if you want to play that 4D chess. But anyways, it's a long story. But essentially, I was able to use that to make it look like I was the soldier. I had already told people that I was the soldier, and now I could use this to basically get people to believe me that, oh yeah, the demon tried to kill me, and there is a good chance that happened. That went after me, didn't work, and now I can go and I can be protected, and my story was clear and covered. And so unfortunately, poor Olivia had to bear the brunt of most of that because I pretty much gained her trust and abused it, unfortunately. It's a space that you leave it there. That's the only time that you do it. That's the only time that's even appropriate to do that. And yeah, it worked out. We didn't win by the time that Nelson was executed. The blame pretty much went off to me because people had figured out, okay, there's a couple of outsiders, and they had figured out which ones had been there. And then Ellie was able to go and say, hey, I protected Jamie. So after I had revealed that, quote unquote, I was a soldier. So it was a lot of rambling, but essentially, our team lost, but it was a great time. Grant was the poisoner who was able to go and make people get the wrong information during the day, which was very interesting. So that's one of the things that also happens is your information may not even be correct, which just adds another layer onto this game. It is so wild. I love this game. It's something that I don't know if I want to play it online again after playing it in person. I'm hoping that at some point I'm going to be able to run a game on my own. It may take a little bit of practice. I may do a smaller game with a more closed set of people before I try my foray into something like that where I have a large group, and run it that way. So really, it's one of the little moments that you can't plan for. And this was one of the convention. Much like our 3-hour game of cartographers last year, this was definitely in that vein. And we got back to our room about, I want to say 2 a.m. roughly. But again, magical time. Really loved it. And really happy that I was there. And, just as kind of an aside, I'm wondering who everybody's, Blood on the Clock Tower dream team would be. This was just about perfect for me. Obviously I'd invite more people. There's more people that I'd like, but just about everybody that was in here is somebody that I'd want in another game. And this was such a magical time. It just really, really was. I can't say enough good things about it. So I'm going to go on to Saturday because I'm rambling. Saturday was a walk around day. So Saturday was my designated just chill, hang out, not do any meetings, just veg and be a con-goer again. This is something that I haven't done in earnest since 2019. And I felt that it was important from the standpoint of knowing what listeners kind of go through, as regular con-goers again. I've been so focused on media since 2019, I've forgotten. And to have that experience again was really, really cool. Just going to the booths and interacting with people and, stopping for demos and stuff like that was just so cool to finally see that again and to see things through that light. I did get to go to the flea market. I had my games to sell. I had my couple games to pick up. I saw Ryan Clements at least twice, if not more, in passing. We said hi to each other, and he's dragging a huge ass cart of games, as he does. And I guess he got rid of twice the amount they took in. So good job, Ryan. Allie brought pastries down, so she came down on Saturday. She brought pastries from Bell's Bread. And the almond croissants, we took one down to Andrew Chesney, who I'll talk about in a minute. just so good. And something that I've been thinking about for like the past 6 months, having this almond croissant. So I did get to say hi to a bunch of people that I didn't get to say hi to before, just walking around, seeing things, and again, too numerous to list. But seeing people at their booths and everything and saying hi. Walked around Unpub with, Andrew Chesney. Always lovely seeing him. We love to see Andrew. It's a highlight of my convention, seeing Ches, and getting to walk around Unpub and having a conversation and, just sharing some time. Doesn't matter how much it is. Like it's always a good time to sit and chat and hang out a little bit with them. So catch up. And then I got to play Beer and Bread with Olivia. This game is so good. It's, I'm going to do a full review of it, but it's just so incredibly good. It does a lot of things right. The dual use cards, and it's not even dual use, it's like triple use. You have ingredients that you can get off of it. You have a recipe that's there. You have a power that's on it. So however you want to use it, I guess you could just call it multi-purpose cards instead of dual use. I'm just so used to it being dual use that I call it that. Just a smart, clever little 2-player game. And the little things that you have to do, like you have to put in an upgrade to clear out what you've produced. Otherwise, you can't produce stuff. You have a certain amount of space before you basically run out with your ingredients. You can only store so much. So that was cool. The way that you get ingredients, where you get ingredients, and then if you match a card that you've played before and the ingredients that gave you, you get more of those. So you get like all the ones of that type that you've played before. It's nothing super new, but it combines everything so well. And this is something that I really like, and I'm not opposed to, something not necessarily having new mechanics, but presenting them in a way and combining them that is so incredibly good. I really love this. This was like an insta buy for me. This and Olivia went over and bought it too. We just kind of looked at each other and said, "Yeah, this is happening. We're getting up and we're buying this." So we had a 4-round demo, and by that time we had seen enough. We're like, "Yeah, this is cool." And then sitting next to me was Craig, who came by as we were waiting to see everything, and he said, "Are you trying Beer and Bread?" I said, "Yeah." So he got in directly next to us after the other table vacated, and he got to try it. And this game isn't going to be for everybody. If you don't get a lot of 2-player games out, this one's not going to be for you. This is a 2-player heads up, and that's it. I did hear a lot of people saying that it's Agricola-like, and other than the theme, no, it's not. It's not even close. Maybe the limited storage. I don't know why people are thinking Agricola on this, but it's really its own animal, and something that I really recommend checking out if you like those 2-player games. Beer and Bread is wonderful. Also, in addition, the scoring. You have to take the lowest of what you've produced in beer and what you've produced in bread. So you have to have that balance. Just a lot of fun things that it does super, super, super well. So please, if you do enjoy games like that, please do check that out. Also saw Ricky Wagner, who I haven't seen since Gen Con of last year, doing the Trans 101 panel. Got to to talk with Ricky for a little bit and see that she was doing very, very well, which made me happy. So it was good seeing her. And then finally, Saturday night came around. We were sad because it was the last night before we all had to go home, or at least I had to go home. Did get more Inside Job played. Got diced veggies to the table. It was one that when I had the break of, hey, what do we play next? And we only have 4 people at the table. That was one that it was like, yeah, okay, let's play this. I'm not going to give any spoilers out, but I do think that this is an incredibly clever game. And yes, there were adults that helped develop it. Yes, there were, but designed by 9-year-olds. So super impressive for that concept to be come up with by 9-year-olds. Part of the Capel family. So. I'm going to talk about this before Gen Con, but if I don't stop myself now, I'm going to rant and rave about this. So I'm not going to. And then finally, we played Monstrosity, as a big group. We played a few rounds of it and then decided, you know what, it's time for bed. We're all super tired. We still are super tired. As I approach an hour into this podcast. So let's get to Sunday, last day, packing stuff up in the car, sad feelings happening, getting everything in the car, checking out the hotel room, and then rushing over to my interview with Nathan Thornton, something that's long overdue. We've been talking about this since Gen Con of last year when we met. I had played Green Team Wins at PAX the previous year and heard about him through that. And then that old wallpaper came up. We had been interacting on Twitter, and I liked that old wallpaper. I'm a fan of Green Team. I got to play Medium, so I like a lot of his stuff. And he is a local, within the state. So definitely check that interview out. A lot of fun talking with Nathan. And, a lot of little silly questions that I asked as well, and little Easter eggs that you'll hear in that. Final walk around. So basically, I took the rest of the time. Justin Peters came down, and he was working on pitching and play testing all weekend with his game. His games, I should say, rather, plural. And he was in the Pub room most of the time. Did want to introduce him to a couple of people that I had talked about repeatedly over and over again that he hadn't really gotten to meet. So I did want to make that connection for him. And I do want to give a shout out here to Jennifer and Scott, who are a couple of listeners of the show. And also shout out to, their daughter Dove, who wasn't there with them. Jennifer got a hold of me over Instagram, I believe it was, and just said, hey, we listen to the show. We want to meet up with you. And we did catch up and had a great conversation. Really loved talking with both of them. And Allie and Justin were kind of hanging out while I did. Scott created this super fantastic book that I got a copy of. I'm going to read through, called Landscapes for Writers and Game Masters, Building Authentic Natural Terrain into Imagined Worlds. So it's basically providing this detailed analysis of terrain, building a better RPG world. So if you really want to know the scientific things and some things that you can incorporate into your world to make them more realistic, making them more authentic, as your player characters kind of traverse that landscape. I thought that's such a cool idea. I'm a big science nerd, and I'm going to be reading this, even though I don't usually hit the tabletop RPG space a lot. I do find this fascinating. I think that it's a really, really cool concept. Looking forward to reading through that. That is available online for those who want to check it out and take a look. But again, Jennifer and Scott, thank you so much for stopping and taking the time to chat. It means a lot to me. Podcasting is one of those mediums that you don't necessarily get a huge amount of direct feedback instantly from people. You do hear it, through the grapevine. You hear it through different social channels and stuff like that. But, having that positive reinforcement of, yes, people are listening to this and people do like it, multiple times over the weekend, including from you, did make my show, and really good to talk to you. So just want to say hi to them. I also, what was funny was I was asking them what they had seen at the con, what was looking good, and they said, you need to check out Dubious. It's like a little social deduction game with storytelling in it. And I stopped by the Tabletop Gamers booth and signed up again for their mailing list. I had already signed up, but they said, yeah, it's fine. Just sign up again. And we've got this drawing that you can enter. And I want a copy of Dubious. So I was looking at it, and I was going to try to do a demo, but I didn't need to because I just got a copy from them. So always make sure to sign up for the Tabletop Gamers mailing list, whether you're an ally, whether you're in the community. They do such fantastic work. And really, I'm so happy that they're there. I'm so happy that they have space, to really help out and to bring a little bit more awareness to the community. It's kind of intersectional for me at this point between the gaming community and the gaming community, if you will. Where you have those multiple identities, and where they intersect is where Tabletop Gamers really stands. So make sure to check out their booth if you're at an upcoming con. They do go to a lot of the major cons, so Gen Con, Origins, PAX are usually at, things like that. So make sure to check them out. And then I bought a few things that just popped out at me. A couple of the small box games, like I talked about from All Play. I did pick those up. And then it was time for me to say my goodbyes and run through the convention center and try to catch everybody. And, basically caught Cord on the way out. And then we walked out and talked to a couple people on the way. So then I basically took Rachel over the car. They had loaded some stuff in my car, emptied that out, and I was on my way home. It was about a 2-hour and 15-minute drive for me back up to Cleveland, and I walked in. I didn't even walk in. Somebody was standing at the door waiting for me, and Charlie was so incredibly happy to see me. He ran around the yard. His tail was wagging. I sat down. He curled right up with me. He was just so happy. He wanted pets. And he missed me. It was good. It was good to see they missed me, because every once in a while you start to think, he likes his mama Allie a little bit more. But I think a little bit of time without me, and he doesn't like that. So got home, and that was pretty much it. I was so tired after that. I still am. This was still a little bit of that stream of consciousness. You're not getting me at 100%. So if you really like those streams, that's exactly what you're getting from me, because I'm still incredibly tired. it's going to take me a few days to recover. But so kind of want to go on to my final thoughts. I miss my friends already, like I said at the top of the show. This really invigorated my passion again. So happy to be back at the convention scene. It's really another world where you have your day job, you do your stuff, and it's not that they don't value you, but you step into a space where people say, "Hey, thank you for what you do. We're happy that you're in the space," and it means a lot. So kind of reinvigorates the passion to do this and to produce content, to produce more content, and to improve. So just more of everybody at conventions. There was more representation from all the communities I saw there, but especially happy to see that again. It's a growing space for queer people, for trans people, for the LGBTQ community, people who aren't afraid to be who they are. And all I can say is, without revealing personal conversation details I had over the weekend with multiple people, representation 100% matters. It's something that we need more of, but I am super happy to provide. I'm super happy to be in the space, and I'm super happy to provide that representation. So I'm so happy to be part of an industry that affirms, welcomes, and accepts, for the most part. There's challenges. There's always challenges. People will say stuff, but within the space itself, I think it's really good. I think we do a really good job of making sure that if we hear something, we say something. One of the conversations I was having with Maddie was, we were out getting ice cream, and walking back, it was a Saturday night, and the area around Short North gets a little bit crazy, over the weekend. It gets a lot of rowdy, rambunctious, sometimes drunk people, and can feel uncomfortable. In general, Columbus has been very good to me. But, one of the things they said was, really going back into that tabletop space was much more comfortable. And they felt better, going back and being out of that Short North space and being back in that community and being back where they felt safe. So, I think there's something to be said there, and kind of realize that space is there, and we do a good job in general of curating that. So I would like to see that continue, because we all know that the outside world isn't necessarily the greatest sometimes. So that's it. That's it. An hour and 15 minutes later. Thank you for listening. If you made it all the way through, it's much appreciated. Next steps, Americon. My home convention is this weekend, so hopefully I get some of these darn things played. I have a lot of review copies that I am looking forward to getting played so that I can actually talk about them in a timely manner. Some of them were very open, just, hey, get me the content when you can. But some of them were, we'd like this before Gen Con. We'd like this, in a pretty timely manner. So, we'll be providing coverage for that, and giving you my thoughts, as well as some stuff that I just want to play in general, because it's my convention and I can do that. So, Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to spending even more time with friends, because at the end of the day, that's why we do this. That's why we're here. So I will not be attending Gen Con. I know that I've said that before, but I will not be. I had to make the choice between Origins and Gen Con. That was the choice I made, just because it was the easier convention to handle. It was the less stress. Gen Con is literally work con. It was funny. I was talking to T, and I said, I'm kind of jealous that you're going to Gen Con, and I'm kind of sad about it. And T said, don't be sad about it, and don't be jealous, because I'm going to have to work. And they're right. It's a lot. It is a lot of work. It is constant work. And you basically are lucky if you can go get something to eat and maybe get a game in. And that's about it. That's about all the time that you have. So yeah, Origins was my nice foray into, back into the convention scene again, after what was a long recovery, and, still continues to be a little bit of a recovery, but, definitely getting there. By Sunday, I was tired, but felt great. And, really left home with my heart filled. And I will be PAX. A couple other conventions I'm looking at, mostly around the area. One might not be, but I haven't finalized details with that yet. And I'm kind of on a conflict about which one to go to. There's one in the area. There's one that's not in the area that is very appealing to me, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've been rambling long enough. I'm going to close the show out. But again, thank you for listening. And yeah. If you want to know more and you're a first-time listener, you can go to our website, cardboardtime.com. And our Instagram and Twitter is at cardboard_time. Any questions, suggestions, or ideas for discussion topics, please email cardboardtime@gmail.com. And as always, thanks again for listening. And we'll see you around the table for another episode, which will inherently be more coherent, of Cardboard Time.